Number 1 at 5. King 5 News starts now.
Peaceful May Day protests turned violent in downtown Seattle. Shattered windows, flames, and clouds of pepper spray.
Some of these people think it's fun and games. It isn't. People are getting hurt.
But the city is not ours yet!
And with 2 more marches ahead of us, the danger is not over. We were warned that May Day protests could spin out of control today, and that is exactly what happened.
Short time ago, the mayor issued a proclamation, an executive order telling police to confiscate sticks, flagpoles, or other items which can be used as weapons.
A far cry from how this day actually started. It was a May Day march. It began peacefully just before noon at Seattle Central Community College.
But around 12:25, a mob of people wearing black infiltrated the march. They surrounded this white car at 3rd and Union and started pounding on it. From there, the troublemakers broke bank windows.
15 minutes later, around 12:40 this afternoon, vandals shattered glass doors on the federal courthouse downtown. They quickly ran off as somebody threw some incendiary device.
At approximately 12:50, vandals broke the windows at Nike Town at 6th and Pike. Police moved in with pepper spray to disperse the masked culprits.
Well, then just before 3:30 this afternoon, another group of protesters took off from Westlake Park, headed to the Space Needle, with the city determined to stop any further violence. Now we show you a live picture from Sky King, and you can see that group joined the Westlake crowd once again. And we have crews keeping track of all these different crowds, and we will start once again with Jim Foreman.
Yeah, guys, hi. We're here at 3rd and Pike, where something just happened. Somebody was either fell or knocked to the ground. But here is the rear line, the rear cordon of Seattle police, kind of pushing this crowd back over to Westlake. Westlake is to the right. To the right there, and 3rd Avenue for some time, and the bus traffic has not been able to move. So a lot of people are stuck right now. Both directions of 3rd Avenue. You can see we have to move as the police move too. So right now the tone and tenor is calm, but there are a few people who seem intent on having come downtown to cause some trouble. So we're going to try and get to a safer location here off to the corner and let the scrimmage line of police officers go by. And then our crews, of course, over at Westlake can pick it up. But people are just trying to get out of downtown, are once again finding themselves in the middle of a bit of mayhem.
And we're hearing, Jim, that some officers or people are throwing bottles at officers at your location at 3rd and Pike?
We believe that was the case, that something was being thrown at the police that caused some pepper spray and perhaps an arrest or two. Now, those you see the bike officers. I'm not sure, guys. Are you on our ground camera or the Sky King?
We're watching from Sky King, Jim.
Okay. If you see the Suburbans at the back end of the police line,
we do.
Those are the hardened SWAT officers who have much more responsive capabilities than pepper spray. And behind them, the mounted police. One horse can control upwards of 50 or more people. So they're an integral part of crowd management here. So the situation is people are just trying to get out of downtown. The 2 marches haven't even merged yet, and already we've seen trouble. And I can tell you that talking to some of those tracking the intelligence, they're really worried about what happens after sunset. Back to you.
Okay.
All right, Jim, thank you.
Let's now head to King 5's Gary Chittum, who was in the thick of it this afternoon. Gary.
Things looked pretty good when demonstrators began putting a symbol of peace in the middle of 6th Avenue. But that peaceful moment didn't last long. It was shattered by the sound of breaking glass at a nearby building. We got there in time to see flares thrown up onto an upper tier and then rocks thrown at the big Nike windows. The panes came down. At that point, the attack was on. Nike Town was the target. They came from all sides and began busting out windows. Pretty soon, they came from behind us too. As you see the camera being jostled around, we found ourselves having to defend ourselves. A good Samaritan stepped in to help out and did his best. We were able to protect ourselves and get away with no injuries, and it was soon time for the demonstrators to leave as the cops moved in. As you can see, they mistook our good Samaritan and us for demonstrators. Tear gas in our eyes, we began to follow the rest of the action down the street as things began to finally cool off. Things have cooled off considerably since then. Right now, though, the crowd is starting to come around the corner. The group that Jim was marching with heading this way to Westlake Center. We expect to see them in just a few minutes. All day long, this has been a very peaceful demonstration going on here at Westlake. Where the problems occur is out on the streets. The thing that police and the organizers were most concerned about were infiltrators. Every reason to be. Reporting live at Westlake, Gary Chittum, King 5 News.
All right, Gary, thank you. Well, most of the destruction happened between 12:30 and 1:30 this afternoon. Lori Matsukawa is standing by in the newsroom with a description of some of what happened. Lori.
Gee, nothing like seeing some of this happening live, and we're going to see it happen through the eyes of my King 5 colleague, Roberta Romero. She was in downtown Seattle when trouble broke out.
I see no police officers at this time at this location. Again, they were kind of on the back of Westlake Park, and we saw the group moving, so we chased after them, and then all of a sudden they just took to the streets.
Reporter Roberta Romero, surrounded. The wandering mob takes a destructive path, threatening a motorist.
You know, some people still have the masks on, and I think that's what has police officers most concerned, because that is a sign of the anarchists, and with their faces covered, it gives them some anonymity.
The mob moves on to the federal courthouse at 6th and Madison. One after another, people in black bash in the doors and windows. A firework is set off. Tear gas climbs into the sky. Police finally arrive. Self-proclaimed superhero Phoenix Jones tries to calm the crowd.
Certainly a contingent here who wants and will do vandalism and violence. That seems to be on their agenda.
Demonstrators attack Nike Town, bashing windows. Tear gas fills the air. Police chase after the vandals. More tear gas. Wells Fargo downtown sustained severe damage. Windows shattered, glass showering upon the crowd. Police are right on it, arresting troublemakers and locking them up.
And we want to assure our viewers that Roberta was not injured in any of her live reporting. However, her photographer, Richard Departie, was assaulted. He was intentionally poked in the face with a pole, but he's doing okay tonight. Live in the newsroom, Lori Matsukawa, King 5 News.
Thank you, Lori. Well, the next big march is happening right now, launching from Judkins Park on to the Federal Building. That's where King 5's Meg Coyle is keeping an eye on things. Meg.
We'll stop and let him come through you.
Well, Dennis, you can see the march is just getting underway here near Judkins Park, about 300 people strong, and they are trying to keep this peaceful, and so far so good. They are undaunted by their determination to make sure that their message is heard, equal rights for everyone. This is a march that is about stopping the Secure Communities program, which is was originally designed under the Bush administration to apprehend convicted felons, but people here are arguing that it's gone much farther than that, and that it creates this atmosphere of intimidation and racial profiling. And so they want to make sure that that message is heard. Despite some of the violent episodes from earlier today, this is something they've been doing since 2004, and they are determined to stay the course. Listen.
People aren't illegal, and everyone deserves to have the same civil rights as everyone else, no matter what color or where they're from.
And so here you can hear them now really chanting as they continue their march. They're going to be going down Jackson all the way into downtown Seattle, and that's where they're going to meet up with some of the other Occupy movements and some of the other protesters that are downtown already. So we've got about 300 people or so right now taking part in this march as it makes its way toward Jackson Street, where it will head west into downtown Seattle again to meet up with some of the other demonstrators that are out today. Again, they are undaunted by some of the violence that has happened. They have a strong police presence here. We've seen cops on bicycles. There are plainclothes officers that are intermingled in the crowd to try to make sure that things don't get out of hand. One other thing you'll notice is you look at these banners, you can see they don't have sticks in them, and that is from the mayor's executive order that anything that could be perceived as a weapon will be confiscated. So they're doing their best to abide by that. Again, they don't want any trouble, and they don't want the anarchists to try to steal the spotlight, and so they are determined to keep this peaceful. So we'll send it back to you. We're going to follow them all the way down into downtown, and we'll give you an update then. Reporting live in downtown Seattle, Meg Coyle, King 5 News.
All right, for a walk that began at Judkins Park, Meg Coyle, thank you. Well, that group of demonstrators is on its way to the main branch of Wells Fargo Bank at 2nd and Madison. They'll meet up with the Occupy Seattle marchers there. And where they converge is where King 5's Linda Brill has been standing by with a look at how Seattle police are handling today's protest under a microscope and in front of a camera. Right, Linda?
Everywhere you go, there are pictures being taken of police. Every protester that we see has got a camera. Everybody's photographing everybody else. It is a very different scene than you've ever seen in any of these protests before. Right now we're at 2nd and Madison. We're between the Federal Building and the Wells Fargo Center. This is where it's all going to converge. The group that Meg was telling you about, the group that Jim was telling you about, they're all on their way here, coming down 2nd Avenue, and will be here at around 6:15, 6:30 is when the mayor arrives. This is a huge challenge and test for the Seattle Police Department today. This is the first big rally that has gone on since the Department of Justice slammed SPD for violating people's civil rights. You heard the mayor earlier. He's giving them even more power to confiscate items from citizens. This is going to be a challenge for police.
Not touch me! Move!
It's a wild goose chase. Seattle police trying to stay ahead of the gangs of so-called anarchists, smashing windows downtown. Broken glass up and down 6th Avenue, and police seem to be one step behind. Who's winning?
Seattle Police Department is.
Try to ask a masked man about the vandalism. He says police are responsible.
It's nothing to do with the protest. We think it's a side matter, probably done by police, just to give them an excuse to kettle.
Police on bicycles, on foot, on horse, hundreds called in on overtime today. And today, they get a powerful new tool. The mayor, by emergency order, allows police to confiscate any items that can be used as a weapon.
The First Amendment uses of 5-foot-long, 3-inch rod sticks is outweighed today by our desire to preserve public safety and confiscate.
And the mayor will be here at around 6:15 to 6:30. He's going to talk to the group about his support for immigration reform. Again, they are going to converge here at the Federal Building. And, of course, we'll be here live to bring it to you. I'm Linda Brill reporting live in Seattle.
Thank you, Linda. We see traffic moving back into Linda Brill, but Tracy Taylor, it's got to be messed up some places.
It certainly is, and we're definitely dealing with the gridlock in downtown with the protest that's happening. Still, 6th Avenue is going to be closed, and that's on Pine Street where some of that protest is going on. Hearing of gridlock on 2nd and 3rd Avenues, 2nd and Stewart Street being closed. Of course, the roads around Westlake also being closed. The latest we've received from King County Metro is that it hasn't disrupted service too much. However, there has been 8 routes that had to reroute because of the downtown protests. Of course, we're staying on top of it, and we'll bring you the latest coming up in just a little bit. Guys.
All right. It probably seems a little disrupted if you were waiting for the right bus in the wrong place. Tracy Taylor, thank you. And we will continue to follow all the developments coming out of the May Day protests, especially those in downtown Seattle. We'll go back live in just a couple of minutes, so stay with King 5.
The goal that I set to defeat al-Qaeda and deny it a chance to rebuild is now within our reach.
President Obama is on a surprise trip to Afghanistan today, the anniversary of the U.S. military mission that took out Osama bin Laden. And just moments ago, he delivered a major speech from inside that country. King 5's Glenn Farley is live in the Digital Media Center with an update. Glenn.
Well, Dennis, the president is in Afghanistan to sign agreements with Afghan President Karzai with promises of continued training and financial support after most troops pull out in late 2014. The president arrived at night under heavy security and then flew by helicopter to Kabul to meet with Afghan's president. 88,000 U.S. troops are still in Afghanistan, and 20,000 are scheduled to remain in training in anti-terror roles after most U.S. troops pull out in a little over 2 years. His message to the American people tonight.
We broke the Taliban's momentum. We've built strong Afghan security forces. We devastated al-Qaeda's leadership, taking out over 20 of their top 30 leaders. And 1 year ago, from a base here in Afghanistan, our troops launched the operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Now, Joint Base Lewis McChord has over 10,000 soldiers deployed right now, including 2 Stryker brigades. Another 3,500 Stryker soldiers are scheduled to go this fall.
Our coalition will set a goal for Afghan forces to be in the lead for combat operations across the country next year. International troops will continue to train, advise, and assist the Afghans and fight alongside them when needed. But we will shift into a support role as Afghans step forward.
Now, the president says tough times remain ahead for our troops with all the dangers that go with combat. It was a short speech, only about 10 minutes. In the Digital Media Center, Glenn Farley, King 5 News.
Glenn Farley, thank you. Now, investigators have arrested 3 teenagers they believe set fires at 4 homes in Lacey over the past weekend. All of them are just 16 years old. Authorities are searching for a 4th suspect. Investigators believe this is a case of vandalism. This morning, firefighters raced to put out another fire at a home still under construction in the same development as the earlier fires were located. And demolition of that double murder suspect's bunker is underway near North Bend. Crews removed and bagged items from inside that secret hideaway. The demolition is expected to be finished by the end of the day Wednesday. Investigators believe Peter Keller built this hideaway over 8 years. Keller is the prime suspect in the murder of his wife and daughter. He was found dead in that bunker over the weekend.
We have much more coverage of the May Day protests.
Marches are continuing in downtown Seattle tonight. We will update you live next.
We're all downtowners. We all made it through WTO, the first round. And I just locked the door and let people in.
What about the people inside the buildings while the violence was going on outside? Hear more from a business owner about how she stayed safe. And you're looking at a live picture of a May Day protest in downtown Seattle. Anarchists and troublemakers went on a vandalism spree earlier today.
We want to take you again to King 5's Gary Chittum, who is live at Westlake Center. Gary, what are you seeing at your location where the marchers are expected to converge anytime?
They are converging right now, Lori. That's exactly what's happening over my shoulder. What's going on is behind this group of people is a line of police officers who are moving the crowd now, as per the agreement, and clearing 4th Avenue, which is completely shut down by this activity. Now, I want to warn viewers, this is live and rough, so things could happen during this that may not be very pleasant for you. Please help us out, bud, so we can see what's going on. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Peace. I get the message. What we're hoping for here is a peaceful resolution to this as the officers are moving them through. So far, everybody seems to be going along with that plan. However, on this side of the line, there are no police. On that side, there are police, and this part of downtown is shut down. We'll continue to just kind of show you these pictures until you tell me otherwise. But this is the culmination of the last, or the 3rd parade of the day, where the demonstrators march through the street. And now it looks like they're going to continue to march, and beginning a new chant. Toss it back to you.
Okay, Gary, we can see a lot of other streets besides 4th Avenue heavily impacted in downtown Seattle tonight, right?
Lots of places got messed up in downtown Seattle today. That's absolutely correct.
Okay, Gary Chittum at Westlake. We'll keep you in touch, and we'll check back with you later in the newscast. The protest took place all around the country today, not only Seattle. In San Francisco, ferry workers staged a rally picketing against rising health care costs, pensions for new hires, and wages. In New York City, members of the Occupy movement marched through the streets of Manhattan for a rally against corporate America. Organizers calling for protesters to block several bridges or tunnels connecting Manhattan to New Jersey and other parts of the city.
The feds arrest 5 men in an alleged plot to blow up a bridge near Cleveland, Ohio. All 5 face charges of conspiracy and trying to use explosives to damage property affecting interstate commerce. The FBI says the targeted bridge is over the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, roughly 15 miles south of downtown Cleveland. 3 of the suspects are self-described anarchists. Federal and state authorities say they are not tied to any terrorist groups.
The 3rd grader shot in a Bremerton classroom is smiling tonight. A group of Girl Scouts just made sure what she went through is not forgotten. Our South Bureau Chief Drew Mickelson joins us live in Bremerton with special honors for Amina. A nice story tonight, Drew.
It is a much different scene from what we're seeing in Seattle, and a much different scene from the last time we were in this neighborhood. Amina's school is adjacent to this park. Obviously, a much different scene here today. A lot of smiles at this park today. This was really Amina's first public outing since she got out of the hospital just about a month ago or so. Today, a Bremerton Girl Scout troop made up of 5- and 6-year-olds, the Daisies, planted a tree to honor Amina's recovery and strength. She nearly died after getting shot in February while at school. She hopes to return to school this fall. Her father says Amina and her family appreciate the support from the community.
I mean, it's something that's going to be there. It's kind of a testament to Amina's strength. And hopefully the tree will grow as she grows, and she'll be able to bring her children here one day.
Amina's father says she is doing much better, but she still has a long recovery ahead of her. But she says, and he says, that these kinds of events will really help with her recovery. Live in Bremerton, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
All right, Drew, thank you.
Thank you, Drew. Let's go to Sean Whitcomb from the Seattle Police Department. He is on the telephone with us to give us an update on the goings-on downtown. Sean, how many arrests have there been made so far?
So we're trying to get a hard confirmation on that. It could be as many as 5 total. And the most recent one, we believe, was for vandalism. Someone was spray painting graffiti.
So, Sean, do you know how many injuries there have been? We saw some video of a man downtown with a bloody face around noon today. Any other people injured?
We don't have any reports of participants or officers being injured. That's information we're trying to track down. It seems like I was just talking to you guys in the noon hour, and that was before the violence erupted. And then we saw smashed windows, we saw paint being thrown, incendiary devices being set off, and it's just seemed to have gotten progressively worse. There was that break in the midday. And then just now when the march is resumed, we have reports of bottles being thrown at officers and potentially bricks. So what we're hoping is that because the marches that are going on are permitted, they're lawful. We know a lot of people just want to exercise their First Amendment rights. Seattle has a very rich tradition when it comes to celebrating May Day. We've got a small number of people who apparently have set their sights on hijacking this event. We're going to be relying not just on our uniformed officers and our plainclothes officers who are there, but on the people who are there to celebrate, who are there to march, who didn't want any of this. We're hoping that if they see someone who's breaking the law, who's out to hurt someone, out to damage other people's property, if they can just flag down one of our uniformed officers and let us take care of the situation. We're really hopeful that as a community, we work together, we can keep the streets safe.
And that would help keep the protests peaceful. Under the mayor's executive order, it gives the police department the authority to confiscate what they believe to be dangerous weapons, something that goes above and beyond a normal law. In those instances, have your police officers met much resistance from the people?
We've been monitoring that and not so much. I think a lot of people understand. A lot of people who have been planning on celebrating May Day and have been working towards the march, and they've been working with the city, and they've been organizing their community. This is not what they wanted. This is the last thing they wanted. They just wanted to have their moment to exercise their First Amendment rights, their constitutional right, freedom to assembly, freedom of speech, and to have this small number of vandals come out and inflict such damage to our city that we love, and it's really infuriating. So, of course, there's going to be a great deal of cooperation. I suspect that if there's some folks out there who really want to resist that idea, they really have their sights set on something else other than lawful demonstration.
All right. Sean Whitcomb, Seattle Police Department, thanks for joining us here on King 5. Let's hope for a peaceful evening of marches tonight.
Thank you, Sean.
A good dose of rain started to move through western Washington.
Jeff Renner will let us know how long it will stick around. His forecast is next.
And the May Day protests are not restricted to just Seattle. We'll show you what happened in Portland today as well. That's coming up at 5:30.
Well, good evening, everybody. We were looking at some showers in the afternoon begin to increase. We're still seeing that on radar. Let's go immediately to our radar output right now, and we'll see that. In fact, some thunder and lightning down in the Portland, Vancouver, and just to the south of Kelso. That is moving into the Cascades, and signs are that it's beginning to diminish. We'll see some of the heavier showers in and around the Puget Sound area, just moving off the Kitsap Peninsula, beginning to approach Richmond Highlands and Linwood. If you live in those areas, I would expect to start seeing some heavier showers within about the next, 10 to 20 minutes at the most. Heaviest place, or I should say the wettest place today, 0.8 of an inch of rain at Utsalati Elementary in Camano Island. Pinewood Elementary, Marysville, just shy of 1/4 of an inch, and 0.2 of an inch at Sumner High School. At SeaTac Airport, nothing measurable. We have had trace amounts show up, but nothing enough to measure in the rain gauge. Today's high unseasonably cool, just hitting 53 degrees. If you felt it was chilly outside, you felt that way for good reasons. Low this morning, 44. Right now, 51. That over downtown Seattle, southerly winds at 5. The pollen count low for trees and no grass or weed pollen showing up today. You can see the band of clouds driving those showers inland. That's right here. Now, the basic driving force, big area of low pressure in the Gulf of Alaska. Here's that disturbance moving inland. Once that kicks in, we're going to get a stronger onshore flow that will maintain showers in some places, but I think the trend will be to decrease until this system starts moving in Thursday morning. But tonight, let's take a turn to our Futurecast. High-resolution modeling. We run the simulation forward in time. You see again this tendency for heavier showers from about central to North King County into South Snohomish County. As we move forward in time, that diminishes, reforms up near Everett tomorrow morning, probably the wettest morning commute, and then typically tending to diminish in the afternoon, though we'll still see some showers. Here the tendency more central to South Puget Sound. Overnight lows tonight. Near the Sound, low to mid-40s, farther inland or elsewhere, upper 30s to low 40s with scattered showers. Scattered showers tomorrow, heaviest from Arlington down to Marysville, mid-50s, partial clearing in the afternoon in particular. Central to North Sound, mid to upper 50s. Again, the heavier showers, Linwood up to Everett. Central to South Puget Sound, we're going to be looking at highs mid to upper 50s as well, with a better chance of partial clearing and a reduced chance of showers. Certainly mostly cloudy and scattered showers along the ocean beaches. The winds are going to be pretty light over the Puget Sound area, south-southwesterly 0 to 10. East of the Cascades, it is going to be partly to mostly sunny. Chance of showers Spokane down to Pullman, mountain passes. Could see some weak measurable snowfall, probably slushy and short-lived. Morning rain Thursday, back to showers. Mostly cloudy showers Friday. Saturday showers ending, partial clearing. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday look pretty nice, back into the 60s. That's what we've been waiting for. We just have to wait a little bit longer.
All right, those good weekends just keep on coming. Thank you, Jeff. More breaking news to tell you about tonight. A house fire in West Seattle. Sky King is over the scene. We can tell you that this house still looks fully involved, but we also know, apparently, no reports of injuries. This house fire located in the 8400 block of 20th Southwest, we believe. We have no more details. We'll keep you posted about this fire right now burning in West Seattle.
Seattle has seen a day of violence and vandalism. Next at 5:30, live updates from the May Day protests.
And we've seen a lot of video like this. Broken windows, outside buildings, we're looking in. What's it like inside? We'll tell you what one business owner had to do to protect herself and her customers.
Another live picture of downtown Seattle where anarchists and vandals have hijacked what was supposed to be a peaceful day of May Day marches, but this march is different. This is the one that originated at Judkins Park, making their way on Jackson to 4th up to the federal courthouse, and this one has been very organized, very peaceful, with no problems whatsoever. Too bad the rest of the day hasn't been like this. It has been a tumultuous day in downtown Seattle.
But at this hour, a legal May Day rally is underway, and King 5's Gary Chittum is there. Gary, you and your photographer roughed up earlier in the day, but tonight, what's the situation?
I didn't quite hear all of your question, but let me just tell you what's going on. The police are taking back 4th Avenue at this point. The marchers came down this street and stopped right here at Westlake, and the police began to move them off to the side. As you've said, every time it gets around Westlake, things seem to be very peaceful. But earlier along this parade route, we had problems. We'll show you some pictures. Somebody who got into a confrontation during that march. The police moved in quickly. They grabbed him and took that person away. And he was arrested. There have been several arrests during the day, but for the most part, when it gets around Westlake Center, it's been very peaceful. As you can see, people cuddling up and sharing their love, even with me down here at Westlake. Reporting live in Seattle, Gary Chittum, King 5 News, back to you.
Nice, friendly little group around you, Gary. Thank you.